Hi.
Surprise.
Coming up, watch John and Kevin ask a world-class chef if he can make them a pasta dish with extra gluten. Only here, folks, only here. This is the Diz Unplugged, episode 578 for the week of February 26th, 2013. The Diz Unplugged is brought to you by DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com, experts in helping you plan the perfect Disney vacation. One great reason to choose Dreams is that most of our agents are stay-at-home moms who are working hard to make money and take care of their kids so our economy can grow and America can be strong and prosperous. So if you don't book with Dreams, it means you're against mothers and against America. DreamsUnlimitedTravel.com. Saving America, one vacation at a time. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Diz Unplugged Roundtable discussion, coming to you live from the Bob Varley Studio in Orlando, Florida. I'm your host, Pete Werner, joined at the table this week by my good friends John Magi, Kevin Close, Julie Martin, and Walter Eccles. Back in the production nook, our producer, Dustin West, along with Sean Thompson and Craig Williams, his backup singers. In this episode, Kevin and John will have their review of the Il Mulino restaurant at the Walt Disney World Swan. But first, we are going to premiere a new segment that we're going to be doing from time to time called Meet the Chef, where we visit with some of the world-class chefs that cook in many of the signature restaurants around Disney and around Orlando, and have them show off some of their favorite dishes. And this week, we are featuring Chef Tyler from Il Mulino. And this is, I'm sure you've heard me talk about Il Mulino. I know Kevin and John have spoken of it. One of my favorite places to eat, if you are a fan of really good, fresh Italian food, this place is hard to beat. As a matter of fact, in terms of Italian food, I don't think it has an equal on property. Tutto Italia is very good, but I think this, for me personally, I think Il Mulino beats Tutto Italia.
We enjoy it too.
And the fact that all of the pasta is made fresh every day is a big plus. So let's go ahead and show you John and Kevin's interview with Chef Tyler. For those of you listening, you can check out this video on our YouTube channel. Just head out to DizUnplugged.com for a link to it. And for those of you watching, here you go.
I'm John Magi, and I'm joined by Kevin Close, and we're here with Chef Tyler Simmons, who is head chef of Il Mulino at the Walt Disney World Swan. Chef Tyler, thanks so much for letting us come and talk with you today in your kitchen. We're really looking forward to tasting your food, but we're also hoping to talk with you and answer some questions while you do some cooking. Is that okay?
Not a problem.
Excellent. While you get started, do you want to give us a little bit of background on yourself, where you started, what you were doing?
I started in the hotel in 2006 in Polio, the restaurant that was here before Il Mulino. When Polio closed down, I went to Blue Zoo for 3 years as a cook. I honed my skills, learned how to do some different types of cookies. From there, I went to the banquet kitchen as a supervisor. And then in 2009, I came over here to Il Mulino as the sous chef. And in June of 2012, I took over as the head chef of the restaurant.
So can you tell us what goes into the dish you're making?
In the pappardelle dish that we serve in the restaurant, we start with our signature tomato basil, which is an Il Mulino recipe that is a homemade sauce that we make daily. We start with the tomato basil. We go into the two types of cheeses. We have a Grana Padano, which is fresh grated every day, and we have a Locatelli Pecorino Romano, which is fresh grated every day. We finish the sauce with 2 pads of butter, and then we fold in the pasta, the fresh made hand-cut pasta, and we top it with a nice chiffonade basil.
I do have a question. I know that the original Il Mulino is in New York.
Yes.
Are these the same recipes from that restaurant?
Yes.
Awesome.
Let's get started. So we take approximately about 6 ounces of pasta for this dish. These are 1 ounce strips. We drop them into a heavily salted boiling water. The water needs to taste like seawater. That's the best way to cook any type of pasta or cook any type of vegetables when you're blanching or cooking, is heavily salted water. It just brings out more of the flavor, and it also infuses the salt to the pasta, so we don't have to add any more into the dish itself.
So the preferred salts that you use, a kosher salt?
We prefer sea salt, typically Fleur de Sel, which is a French sea salt. That's one of the most popular ones on property, as well as in this restaurant.
So as John said, that's the pasta sauce,
The tomato basil.
the butter, and some of the cheeses.
Both types of the cheeses, equal parts of both the cheeses. We melt them all down. We mount it with the butter at the end. That's where it gets a nice shininess from it. And then now I will toss in the pasta and plate it into the bowl. We always top it with a little fresh Parmesan. So now we have a little bit of the pasta mixed in with the sauce. We take a nice little coil. Make sure all the pasta is coated in the sauce. We go into a nice clean bowl, mounted slightly in the middle. It does not have to be uniform. The beauty of this dish is it's a take on a lasagna.
Looks delicious and it smells delicious. One of our favorite things about the Walt Disney World Swan and Dolphin is every year you guys throw the Food and Wine Classic. And I know I read that you have participated in the past. I know I've tried your food. Are you participating this year in the Food and Wine Classic?
Yes, we are. We have 2 dishes. We come up with new dishes every single year for the Food and Wine. This year we are doing 2 types of pasta. One pasta's on Friday, one's on Saturday.
You guys also do a great thing in that you have tables and places for people to sit
Absolutely.
rather than Food and Wine.
People get tired of eating on top of a garbage can. That's fine.
You
Exactly.
get a chance to meet the folks who come by your booth at all during Food and Wine,
Always.
or you're just too busy?
Always. I always make time for the guest that walks by. If they have a question for me, I can stop what I'm doing. I always make sure that the guest comes first.
So they will get a chance to meet you this year.
They will get a chance to meet me. Last year, I met several guests that did other podcasts, other blogs, did interviews.
There are
on
other
the-
podcasts.
There was other podcasts.
So this is your chance. If you're at the Food and Wine Classic this year, make sure you stop in and say hello to Chef Tyler. This looks and smells absolutely wonderful.
It smells terrific. About how many plates of this do you serve a night?
We typically serve about 15 to 20 a night. This is a wonderful dish because of the fact that it is a handmade, hand-cut pasta. The only type of machine we use is the pasta roller. Everything else is made by hand as far as making the dough all the way to rolling and cutting the pasta out.
Now you referred to this as a deconstructed lasagna. It has all of the same ingredients.
Minus the meats. This is more of a vegetarian dish that we like to serve all types of people. We don't like to exclude any allergies. We even offer options for gluten-free as well as vegan in our restaurant.
That's awesome. One of the questions we get quite a bit from our listeners, our viewers, our clients is what happens if I do have an allergy? Our suggestion is always make sure your wait staff knows and has to talk to the chef.
Exactly, and I will come to the table if you have an allergy, and I will assist you on helping you make a decision on the menu. And if it's something we can't do on the menu, I will change it, and I will make an option available for any type of guest. We do
That's
not exclude
wonderful.
anybody.
That's awesome. What I eat here, I would like you to do is take the gluten from their meal and add it to mine. If that's at all possible.
We can do that.
All right, I like extra.
I have to tell you, usually when people think of vegetarian entrees, they think of things that don't look appealing. Trust me, this looks and smells appealing.
Excellent. If it's all right with you, we'd like to try it.
Not a problem.
It's excellent.
Go right ahead, dig in and enjoy.
Give me a fork now.
No. This tastes even better than it looks.
Oh my gosh, so
And that's
good.
hard to do. It's that good.
The pasta's fresh. It does. The pasta melts in your mouth. It's fresh. It's delicious. The sauce is extremely creamy for what looks like a plain red sauce. That's because of the butter and the cheeses that are melted into it. It feels like a simple home-cooked dish with a very deep flavor and very layered flavor. So I think that's what I love about it. When I think of Italian food, that's what I think of. So
Tell us what the actual name of this is again, so when they come in, they know what to order.
It is a pappardelle pasta.
So, Tyler, is there anything you want our listeners or our fans or our viewers to know about Il Mulino or the Walt Disney World Swan before we go?
We're open 365 days a year. We're one of the best Italian restaurants in the area. We get a lot of good feedback from the general public, and there's no reservations needed. They're preferred, but there's no needed. It's a casual atmosphere, so if you spend all day at the parks, feel free to come in, flip-flop sandals with your tired kids. We'll take anybody that comes in, and we'll have a nice hearty meal.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for watching this segment. We hope you join us for another segment when we do Meet the Chef.
Awesome. Awesome.
Oh, you guys did a great job.
They
Thank
did
you.
a fantastic
How
job.
can you be that caliber of a chef and be that skinny? I'm looking at him thinking, I would weigh 300 pounds if I was,
He was very. I thought he did great. He was very nervous.
But he was, I'll tell
was
you,
good.
he was good.
The one thing you can't really convey in video. Oh, I'm now a.
Sorry about that.
The one thing you really can't convey in the video truly is how good
It was really good.
that tasted. I've had the pappardelle before there, so I was really glad to see him making that. I didn't ask him to make that, and
Well, I know the shrimp dish they have there is my favorite shrimp dish in the whole city.
you love that shrimp
I love
dish.
it.
I also want people to know that he wasn't making us full-size entree portions.
No, they were not.
This was a taste.
Yeah.
Right. He was making it. There were how many of us there? 5 of us there.
Right.
Doing this. Johnny
Had he-
Kevin on camera, and then the 3
Yeah,
of us.
because usually their portions are extremely
Oh
large.
yeah.
Yeah.
Portions are
Had he
huge.
made us
at
full
Mulino.
portions, the interview would have been over.
Yeah.
Push the camera out of your face and just, sit on the stove. Like, get away from me. This was just a taste.
I think John needs to wear a pair of sunglasses next time on the back of his head, like Guy Fieri.
Do I really?
Yeah, no.
I just kept having flashbacks. I think it's your blonde hair. I mean, you're not quite as blonde as him, but
I want to
He's
say
not
too.
quite as blonde as him.
I want to say too. Swan and Dolphin were very generous with us.
Always are.
El Mulino was very generous. They let us go in and set up in their kitchen.
This short thing you just saw, what were
Incredible.
we there, 2 hours?
Wow.
It was about an hour and a half, I think,
Yeah.
in total.
I mean, we were right in the middle of their kitchen.
And I mean, they did this, right before. This was, a couple hours before dinner.
okay.
So there were many other things
They
that
could
he
be
could have been doing.
yeah, right.
But I'll have to tell you that, first of all, that was about the cleanest kitchen I've ever seen. That kitchen was
spotless.
immaculate, and it was great. It was really cool to be back there watching that, and I was really glad we were able to film this. You're right. The Swan Dolphin was incredibly generous with us, letting us in to do that, and like I said, it's one of my. We're only going to do these type of segments with restaurants that we love. It's kind of rude to go in and talk to the chef and then go trash his food.
Well, this has already been discussed in chat, and our restaurant review was done 2 or 3 weeks before the interview
Correct.
was done.
Correct.
So we went in and made judgments.
Right.
I'm going to be honest with you. I would find it very difficult to trash a restaurant and then go talk to the chef.
No.
Right.
No. I had made the decision with these segments that the only ones we would do would be ones where we have a history of liking that particular restaurant, that we know that it's consistently good. And so, no, we're not going to go. We're not going to go into the kitchen at Boatwright's and show you how the food is defrosted and then put in a microwave. We're not going to do that. But so let's go ahead and turn it over to Johnny and Kevin for their review of Il Mulino.
All right. It was 3 of us who went to dinner. We made a reservation that day. We knew we were going to do the interview with the chef in a couple of weeks' time, but so we just decided to go see what we thought. And I was surprised to find out that their words were that reservations are accepted, but they're usually not needed.
Correct.
I was
So-
surprised to hear that too. Yeah.
Yeah, that it's, they're very comfortable with walk-ups. So Sean and John and I went to dinner and just decided to see what we think. We started with some appetizers. We had the arancini. Mm-hmm. We had the meatballs and tomato sauce with Parmesan cheese.
Wow.
And we had the charcuterie platter. I can't remember what the name of it is.
The charcuterie platter.
Insaccata misti. Platter of Italian delights for two, including prosciutto, mortadella, sopressata, and some other stuff.
Pictures
Parmesan Reggiano, roasted red peppers, cherry vinegar peppers, sun-dried tomatoes, and buffalo mozzarella. This is $24.
Wow.
However, the three of us shared this. And the arancini. The arancini were the little rice balls with sauce. They're always
They
good.
are so good. And then also, they also put down, don't they normally put down like an eggplant type dish, like
Right. The chef gave us a little teaser.
Right, a little thing
Special.
for your,
What do they call
marinated
it?
eggplant.
bouche.
Amuse-bouche.
Amuse-bouche.
Not in Italy. They call it something else.
Right, because this is a
France,
big portion. Usually an amuse-bouche
yeah,
is
it
a
was
tiny,
big enough for
tiny
all of us to
portion.
share, and the bread was really good.
The bread's delicious.
We had a very nice table. The restaurant was not crowded, and we did have a reservation.
We also ordered an additional appetizer of the Parmigiano Reggiano, and the waiter was very concerned. Oh, sir, you're also going to get cheese on the ensalada dish. Oh, no.
There was absolutely no cheese left over. When we
Exactly. How will we ever eat more cheese? He was very concerned. You understand there's cheese on the other dishes.
Don't say that when
Sir,
I'm
that's a lot of cheese.
drinking.
Well, what he was intimating is that you've already ordered cheese. No, that's okay. We're good. We get it.
Just keep bringing the cheese.
Okay, hang on. I just lost my menu. I've got to bring it back up. There it is. After that, we ordered entrees. I had the chicken parm. Sean, what did you have?
I had a roast chicken.
And
Give them a little
a full
time to
roast
bring up
chicken.
the picture. You
Yeah,
kind
give
of-
them time to bring up the picture. Let's go to the chicken parm.
come on, boys. That was the chicken
Wow, that's
parm that I
huge.
had.
Yeah, it's huge.
Let's talk about that for a minute.
Is that the whole plate is a piece of chicken?
The whole
Yes.
plate is a piece of
That is a gigantic chicken.
It is
However,
fabulous.
it's one chicken breast that they've pounded
Pounded
into
down,
Okay,
submission.
gotcha.
The other thing is, can we go back to the picture for a minute?
Sure.
The cheese is spread out in three directions. The only sauce on the chicken parm is that.
Little tiny
Oh,
dollop.
in
that
the
sounds
middle.
great.
Oh no! See,
We like more sauce.
I like the sauce over the chicken and the cheese melted. I found the chicken. It's the only negative thing I can tell you. I found the chicken a little bit dry. It had been pounded very thin and fried, and there wasn't. I guess I grew up in the Northeast. We have Italian restaurants where you cover the chicken breast with the sauce and then you put the cheese on that and you run it under the broiler.
Right.
This was just a different preparation. It wasn't bad.
You also asked the waiter for more sauce, and in minutes it was out at the
I
table.
asked for extra sauce to put on top of it, and that, in my opinion, that increased the goodness. It's terrible when bad things happen to a good sentence.
This is why he's our restaurant
It
reviewer.
increased the goodness.
The yumminess.
I liked
It was a huge piece. However, it was very, very thin. What's the next picture?
We have the roast chicken.
I think they're waiting.
That's still me.
Or apparently we don't.
We need a new pit crew.
Well, they're in their nook, which sounded really cute.
All right, well, let's go on and
All
talk.
right. Sean, what did you think of the chicken?
I thought it was really good. It had like fresh herbs in it, and it was on the bone, so it had lots of flavor. But the best thing I think for sure was the other pasta
Wait,
dish.
don't go there yet.
Okay,
Yeah, we haven't got there yet.
never mind. Yeah, that's what. Yeah.
And what did you have?
I had the-
Don't show. There's a picture behind John.
Let's not worry about the picture. Let's
All
just
right.
give the review and leave that up to them.
I had a gnocchi bolognese, which was very good. It was very tasty. It was hot. The gnocchi was fresh. The meat sauce was delicious. And we are now going to go into why all of our dishes were not finished.
Our waiter suggested that we order the best dish on the menu. So we said, all right. It's a tube pasta. I apologize. its name is
Rigatoni.
Rigatoni. Hang on, I should be able to find that. Oh, yeah, rigatoni con fungi. It's rigatoni with wild mushrooms, garlic, and truffle oil. It's $24.
Wow.
Now, he suggested that you could add chicken to it or seafood. He said, but because of the earthiness of the mushrooms, I would suggest you add the sausage. And we thought, all right. I kind of thought he was upselling us on ordering another thing. Mine went home, John's went home, and Sean's went home. This was the most amazing thing we had ever tasted. It was a
incredible.
very simple preparation.
Mm-hmm.
However, it was extraordinarily good. The three of us kept looking at each other like, hoping that one of us would lose attention so the other two of us could just claim the dish.
It was very Hunger Games. Who was going to run first to the plate?
However, Sean just wouldn't look away.
Something you just said is, I think, really sums up Il Mulino for me. The dishes are not complex. They're not, it's not fusion. It's not all this crazy stuff. They're really simple, straightforward dishes, but the way they're prepared, the ingredients that are used, the freshness of everything is what really makes it stand out. I know that the chefs are picking out like vegetables every day. They have the places that they go where they're brutal. I've heard in terms of the standards that they have in terms of what's allowed to be served in the restaurant, and you hear that and it sounds good, but when you taste that, when you see what that actually tastes like on the dish, it's amazing.
We asked Chef Tyler, and he said everything is local, as much as they can, is locally sourced.
Right.
From local growers, so that the whole reduce the carbon footprint. But also, I think that's true too, in that it makes the dish better because it's fresh and it's brought to the table.
And then you have a relationship with the people providing you.
The nice thing about a simple preparation is that it offers you a clean flavors.
Right.
It's also very hard. It's much harder to pull off perfect simplicity.
This is how I like Italian food.
That's really, you're absolutely right.
I mean, you can add things to it and cover it up. When you're going with it's garlic, truffle oil, pasta, mushrooms, and sausage. So it's kind of, that's my earpiece keeps falling out.
And I'll be honest with you, the first time I ate Il Mulino the first time right after it opened, and I was not impressed.
I agree. That was our review back then.
And I was like, because we had taken Walter and I had taken some friends there for dinner, and I just was like, okay, wow, they got rid of Palio, because Palio was like my favorite restaurant on property, and they got rid of Palio for this, and then I hadn't gone back there again.
It was years
until we did the the preview of the Food and Wine Classic,
right?
And we did it there in Il Mulino. And it's a few years ago, and then afterwards, when we were done, I was starving, so we stayed and we had dinner, and dinner was amazing. And I think I'm back there once a month, once every 2 months.
Now, one of the things that I learned this trip, besides how great this stuff was, I always looked at Il Mulino as like a destination restaurant. Kind of, you needed a reservation. It was a dressed-up affair. And they made it perfectly clear that this is the kind of place you could drop in for a casual dinner, as opposed to, an event. So, and I think that's really nice because it changed the way I looked at it.
Now, that being said, I wanted to go there Saturday night with Mom and my brother and Walter. Couldn't get a reservation.
Well,
so there are going to be nights, while reservation's not required, it's never a terrible idea.
Also, that was a very busy week at Walt Disney World.
Yeah.
So,
right.
I want to also point out one more thing. We put out a thing a couple weeks ago where we said we're going to start doing re-reviews of restaurants. Where would you like to see us go back to? Something that we did not give a favorable review to initially. What would you like to change our mind on? This is actually our friends Kathy and Frank Giordano said to us, please go back to Mulino.
So
please, you have to go back. It's so good. It's one of their favorites.
Yeah, they may have stumbled out of the gate with this restaurant, but they apparently picked up the ball. So I'm not kidding. I've been back to this restaurant at least a dozen times, and every single experience has been flawless. I've not had one bad meal, not one bad service experience. I always walk away going, oh my God, that was so good.
The only thing I would say about the chicken is I think that was a difference in opinion on how that should be made.
But you liked it once they brought the sauce over and you put some more sauce on it.
I ate it and then took it home and ate it again.
Next thing. And so speaking of service, we had a really good waiter. Our waiter was top notch. He was fantastic.
Remember
on the
his name?
ball all the time.
Remember his name?
I do not.
I don't. However, right after our main course, as he was clearing the table, he spilled a glass of ice water in my lap.
On both of us. We both got soaked.
And not his fault. It was an accident. He just grazed it. We said no problem. We cleaned up. Everything was fine. He was so sorry and so apologetic. I mean, you could see he was.
This was not like the White Rabbit hitting children.
How did you get there from here?
You didn't get into it. He didn't put you in a headlock?
No. However, he was unbelievably apologetic. This was just an accident, and he was unbelievably
Right. We
apologetic.
told him it was no big deal and don't worry about it. You could see he was physically upset that he had done it. So as his way of apologizing,
He brought us every dessert on the menu.
Oh my goodness.
Pete's gonna be like knocking glasses of water into his own lap.
Oopsie.
I need to go back a second before we get into dessert.
Okay.
We ordered 2 side dishes.
I forgot.
We ordered a roasted rosemary potato, which were delicious. And then we ordered peas and garlic.
doesn't it have pancetta in it?
Peas, garlic, and pancetta. And they were just... They were...
They were so good.
Are they the oversized green pea? Because they
No,
they
they were
look
regular pea.
because they look big. Because they make
were
big ones.
A little smaller than pearls.
Oh,
I know you knew what that
Oh,
meant.
peas and pancetta. Oy.
I have to tell you, they all got eaten too. Those just, they kept
You
going
want me
back
to? If you want me to eat my vegetables, Ma, smother them in fat
and bacon.
and bacon.
I apologize. I don't have the list of desserts here. However, I can tell you that each and every one was delicious. I am not a fan of tiramisu.
There's a picture up there.
I just am not. It's not one of my things.
I don't like it either.
like the coffee. I'm not a fan of coffee unless it's coffee.
I love it.
I don't like the lady fingers. Ugh.
When they're soaked in mush.
Oh, so gross.
Now,
Sean,
for those who are listening to the show, all of these pictures will be available on the show notes page. Am I saying that right, Sean? These pictures will be available for them to see?
Yep, I'll put up a link so it'll link to the gallery where you can see them all.
Okay. Disunplugged.com. In this picture that we're looking at right now, is that 3 different types of tiramisu?
No, the middle one is tiramisu. The far one is a cheesecake.
Lemon cheesecake. It was so good.
Oh, that's a
It
Jesus
looks
plate.
good.
The closest one was a fudge.
Oh, yeah, that's a Jesus plate.
Was it, Sean? Wasn't that a fudge?
It was like a
cake?
fudge chocolate cake.
Was it?
They were all really good.
And that came with
Ice cream?
French vanilla ice cream.
One was French vanilla, and one was I can't think of the name of it. Not panna cotta.
Pistachio?
No, it was.
No, it was like a cream.
right. It was an
Yeah.
Italian cream. I can't think of the exact. People will now tweet about it and tell me I'm stupid, but it was. So it
Yeah,
was
that's what's going to happen next. Okay.
So there was a big plate of desserts, which were just so nice of him to do.
Again, we were stuffed. And this gentleman, as an apology, an unnecessary apology, brought this out to us. And then the server came around with a bucket and 3 little glasses
Oh, yeah.
and
It
poured
was this brass. It's this brass bucket, very steampunk looking, with a ladle in it.
Yes.
And you're
he
like, is it
poured-
gruel time? What are you doing?
back in the workhouse, Oliver.
Exactly.
So he poured us 3 little glasses of what I can only describe as cough medicine and turpentine.
It was like nail polish remover and lemon pledge mixed together.
It's limoncello, right?
This is limoncello.
But limoncello
called
with
it that,
vodka
but-
in it, I believe, or some other alcohol.
It
in
is
Oh, yeah,
made,
it's got-
we asked Chef Tyler, it is made on premises. He said, however, he has nothing to do with that. That is the front, that is the front of the house who does that, and he has nothing to do with
I
that.
can understand that some people might enjoy it as for the end of your meal. It was just, we're not drinkers, so it was very, very harsh.
To give you, I was a drinker. I'm a professional, and in the day when I was drinking, the first time I ate at El Mulino, I was drinking, and I tried the limoncello. Now, like I said, anybody who's watched the show or listened to the show for any length of time knows my story. I'm no stranger to alcohol. This was rough. This was rough. And you know, I drank hard liquor straight. And for me to make a face, for me to go, that's a rough glass of booze.
It brought back being a child and having to take cough medicine. It just was like, you sat there with it in your mouth and thought, what do I do with it now? It was just, oh my gosh, it was awful.
But by contrast, this is if you like wine, this is a great restaurant.
Oh, I thought you were going to compare wine to this lemon.
Me too.
No. I'm saying that this is the kind of restaurant if you like wine with a great meal. Some of the Italian wines they have on the menu are phenomenal, and they complement the simplicity of the dishes really, really well. So that if you like wine, if you're into wine, this is a particularly good place to have dinner.
The prices for entrees are in the $16 to $24 range. There is a $45 filet mignon, and I'm sure there's others that will just jump above the $24 range. I see a $32 dish. Figure $25 an entree, unless you're going for the most expensive thing. So while it's not inexpensive,
right?
It's not compared to places like Le Cellier. Le Cellier, you're paying $42 for a steak. I think this is head and shoulders above most of the other restaurants on property. There's a handful of restaurants that I've talked about in the past that I think are equals. This could be one of them.
I was surprised, too, that they took Tables in Wonderland.
Yep, they do.
And he was so great about it. I said, do you take it? He said, yeah. I said, do you want to see it? He goes, no, I trust you.
Are you serious?
And yeah,
Wow.
I mean, usually you have to show the ID.
Yeah, right.
I want to just go back and restate. Our waiter was excellent. The little spillage was an accident. He couldn't have been a better server.
And that's been the case every time I've been there. I mean, really, the service staff is so well trained, and these are professional servers. These aren't people. This is their part-time job. These guys are pros, and you can tell when you're in a restaurant where you're dealing with. This is what they do for a living. This is their trade.
I really enjoyed going into the restaurant. It looks very upscale. You get the feeling that you're in a fine dining establishment. However, I thought I really enjoyed the comfort of it. I felt very comfortable.
It's not
there.
pretentious.
No, that's it.
It's not.
That's a way to describe it.
It's not, and you can be in there, and that's the thing about with the whole vibe of the place, because it does kind of feel a little upscale, but you don't feel uncomfortable being in there, as he was saying, in shorts and flip-flops. And the whole attitude and the vibe of the restaurant goes so well with the way the food is prepared, and the whole experience. It is one of those dining experiences. For me, it's like I said, I absolutely love it. I'm there all the time.
And I'm going to tell you that finding good Italian food in Orlando is difficult.
Very
Not
difficult.
that easy, right?
So before I go, before we end this, I want you to know that we asked Chef Tyler Simmons, who you should all go visit at the Food and Wine Classic, and tell him where you heard about him. We asked Chef Tyler, as a local, where would he go to dinner when he was going to go out for a night on the town. And he told us that he and his wife go to a restaurant in Winter Park called the Ravenous Pig.
I've been there.
I've seen it. I haven't stopped.
We did a review for The Ravenous Pig. We went out. We did a review for Foodie Tales.
Okay.
So go to foodietales.com. We'll put it up tonight, and it'll be one of the first stories on the homepage, and you can read Kevin's review of The Ravenous Pig.
Now, I brought menus for those of you who haven't been to the Ravenous Pig, so you can look at what we had.
Okay, but I am a ravenous pig, so...
Well, I'm not going to make the jokes. It's you'll just have to read the Foodie Tales blog and see what goes on. It's funny, when we ate there, I thought of you and Corey.
Yeah, he hasn't been. I went with a girlfriend.
Sounds
Okay,
like
and Corey, God love him, ravenous pig. Okay,
Corey is
ravenous pig.
hollow. I have been to Texas Day Brazil with Corey,
Oh, it's
Oh, dear God.
stunning.
and you're pretty sure that there's 2 less cows in the world.
Woman, how do you feed him? How
He eats, usually if I make something at home, he will eat that, but he will eat in addition to that as well. I basically need to make a meal for like 6 people in order to feed Corey, and I'm
And
not doing that.
He doesn't
I refuse.
gain any weight. I cannot tell you how many times I felt that might be a valid reason to fire him.
No, the
he can
valid
eat.
reason to fire him was he sat next to me one day and I offered him candy and he said, I don't really eat candy. Once a
No,
year
I
I'll
don't
have
like
a handful of Skittles.
Yeah, he doesn't like
I
sweets.
almost kicked
nasty,
the chair
doesn't
out from underneath him.
I'm sorry.
Doesn't like
like-
chocolate. I know
That's
that.
really good for me in my house because then I get all of that.
And yeah, she gets all of it. And please take a look at her. Okay, these are the people that can
Big,
eat.
chunky Julie.
They can eat that stuff and not gain any weight. They're evil, and they must be destroyed.
Okay, we're done.
All right.
Let's go eat.
Well, really.
After seeing him cook that,
I really gotta, I gotta start placing these segments. Like the dining segments have to be at the very end of the day so that we can just go eat. Because after watching that, I'm really tempted to drive down to Mulino tonight. All right. Well, thank you very much, John and Kevin. Thanks, Craig and Dustin, for the production work on filming that Meet the Chef segment. We appreciate that. And thanks all of you for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. And for those of you watching live on Diz Unplugged, stay tuned for our email and voicemail show coming up in 15 minutes. Everyone else, thanks very much. We'll see you again next time. And as always, remember, stay out of the damn lakes and get into Il Mulino.